I remember from a very young age really feeling the pain and struggles of others and asking myself, even when I was 5 years old, what can I do to help people? What can I do to help with all of this injustice that I see in the world? Even as a 5 year old, seeing homeless people and wondering, how is that possible? How are they homeless? I know there's enough money. I know there's enough food. What's going on here? Something's out of alignment. This inner part of me, the inner empath feeling the pain of the world, found myself as an adult saying, now what can I do? So I went down the route of becoming a social worker, getting my master's in social work. I became a trained clairvoyant and healer. And through all of these various modalities, I hope that I have helped a lot of people in my 42 years on this planet. But one thing I definitely found out through this experience was that I wasn't helping anyone by trying to fix them or solve all their problems for them. And hey, if we haven't met yet, my name is Anna Long-Stokes. I'm an energy-informed mental health therapist, as well as a clairvoyant healer. And I started the Aligned Life to share some of my experiences on my journey to living in more alignment, mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so fixing others. I think that logically you understand that you can't fix others. I feel like the world is in a place, we're sharing enough information and ideas that this is a general concept. We all know, hey, we can't really fix others. People need to want this for themselves. There's understanding that on a conscious level, and then there's what I see in daily practice through healing and therapy, which is that people are still trying to fix each other all the time. What this can look like is asking yourself, well, why can't they just do it the way I would do it? Well, maybe if they just did this, well, maybe I could call them and share this idea with them. Well, what about this resource? What if I book this appointment for them? What if, what if? So you might not realize you're doing this, but you're likely trying to fix the problems of somebody else, whether it's your mom, or your dad, or your sister, or your best friend, or ding, 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 the big one I see in therapy, they're trying to fix their partner, who, by the way, does not want to be fixed. So we are all doing this all the time, likely whether we realize it or not. So how I first realized I was doing this was early in life. I spent a lot of time trying to fix the boys I was dating. That was the big one. I would get into relationships with these boys, and I'm calling them boys because I was in high school, where they came from broken families. Maybe they had a really hard time growing up, maybe a hard time with drugs, and I could fix them. I was sure of it. I could just be the savior and fix this person. And then that went on to me becoming a social worker, and then I was just sure I could fix these clients. If they could just get off drugs or get into housing and safely use drugs within their house, if they could just not start a fire in their house, if they could just the types of things I saw are crazy. And I was always looking at it through this lens of how can I fix it? How can I solve it? Shocker, burnt out pretty quickly after about 4 years of that, and then found myself moving into the healing profession, thinking, geez, if I go into healing, everyone who comes to me is going to want a healing. Another spoiler is that not everybody who comes in for a healing actually wants a healing. So, and a lot of people who are coming in for a healing for themselves are actually coming in trying to fix the people in their life, not receive a healing on their own stuff. So I then started to discover through healing others that it wasn't working. This fixing wasn't working. My trying to fix wasn't work. Their trying to fix wasn't work. And then came my therapy practice. But luckily, by the time I started my therapy practice, I realized that I couldn't fix people. I had been doing the work in various capacities for long enough to realize that fixing others didn't work. So in today's video, I wanted to share why fixing doesn't work, just as a reminder in case you find yourself in this situation where you're trying to fix others a lot and you're getting frustrated. And I will say that the coolest thing about learning not to view people as projects and learning how to view things differently and not fix people is that then I became a true healer. I am able to hold space for others on their own transformational journey. And that is so much more powerful than me trying to solve their problems or do the work for them. So, if you're having any resistance to the idea that you need to stop fixing people because this is a habit of yours and you think they need it and you think you're so helpful, know that there's actually a way that you can be of greater service to those in your life. And it doesn't have to do with fixing them. Okay, so here are the 5 things that I've really learned as I've tried to fix people throughout my life. Okay, so number 1, everyone is here on their own journey, their own unique journey that's different than yours. And sometimes the best thing that you can do is offer love and support and encouragement, but doing so without imposing your own values or views onto them, without trying to change who they are. People may be learning things in ways that you don't understand. Maybe they have to learn the hard way. I know I have had to learn my lessons the hard way. It's just how I learn. And so anytime anyone's tried to shortcut that for me or circumvent the hardships, I really have had to go through that on my own. So yeah, quit trying to fix this for people. They're on their own journey. So let them have their journey. Okay, so number 2 is that personal growth is individual and people have their own timelines. So people grow and change at their own pace, which for someone like me who's been reading self-help books since I was like a teenager, I like change fast. I'm uncomfortable if change in my life isn't happening fast. For other people, I have a friend where her rate of change is very slow and we always lovingly laugh about it together. We'll get together on a call every 6 months and I'll have like 50 updates for her and she's like, "I'm still working on that one thing." And that's her pace. And I don't judge her for that. She doesn't judge me for the pace I move at. We just have a different pace and we are on our own personal growth journeys. This is an individual thing. So sometimes inadvertently, when you're trying to fix someone, you're pushing a timeline on them. They could be getting there on their own. They just need to get there on their own. You see this a lot with parents and teenagers. The teen is going to get there. They're probably going to get there when they're 26. That thing you want them to get, that thing you want them to understand, that growth you want them to have, it's likely going to happen, but it needs to happen on their own timeline, not your timeline. And with this is the most important thing, which is that true growth comes from within. It's an internal process, or internally motivated process, I should say, not an externally motivated process. This is why, as a social worker, working with court mandated clients can be really frustrating and challenging because you could be working with someone who has murdered someone, but until they have that aha that says, "Oh, geez, that was shitty. I shouldn't have done that." You can't make them get there. It is something they have to get there on their own. So yeah, everyone's got their own unique personal growth timeline, and everyone has their own journey. And number 3, why you can't fix others is that this is kind of showing like a lack of boundaries and respect for other people when you try to fix them. Trying to fix someone is sort of disregarding their own autonomy and their perspective on the situation. If you're coming in and you're saying, "This is the way to do it, this is the best way it's done," you're disregarding that they might have different boundaries from you, and that they are their own autonomous person who needs to decide this for themselves. So yeah, number 3, everyone's got their own boundaries and we need to respect those boundaries. Okay, number 4, and this is a big one, is that a lot of times your fixing is not wanted. People don't want to change. They don't see their life as a problem. They don't see their alcoholism as a problem. They don't see their drinking and driving as a problem, which is scary, but this is true. They don't see that gaslighting narcissistic partner that they're with as a problem yet. So they're just not there yet. They don't see it as a problem. Or if they do see it as a problem, again, reverting to number two is that they're on their own timeline as to when they're going to do something about it. A lot of times people do know what their problems are, even if it's kind of hidden deeply within their shadow, but they're not ready to tackle it yet. They have a timeline in place, likely spirit guided, energy guided, and we are not here to dictate what that timeline is for them. So yeah, a lot of people don't always want to be fixed. They don't want to be told what they should do, especially when they haven't asked for it. Even sometimes when they've asked for it, they don't want to hear about it. And I see this in therapy occasionally. People will come in super motivated first and second session, but once you actually start digging into some of their problem behaviors and what change could look like, they freak out and they don't come back because they're not really ready. They were hoping that the therapist was going to say, oh, here's your easy solution. I'm just going to hand it to you on a prescription pad. Or just do this breathing exercise and your whole life will change. But that's not how transformational change works. It's a process. So yeah, a lot of times fixing is unwanted and your advice is unwanted, even if you're a paid professional. They might not want your advice. Okay, so number 5, and this just sort of is like really important, which is that by you thinking you can fix people, there's a natural assumption that you know what's best or you are superior. You have the answers. And this can feel really condescending to people to be told what to do, especially people who know you well and know that you've got your own baggage you're likely working through. They might find themselves thinking, oh, that's interesting. She's giving me relationship advice. She's single. She's been through, 3 divorces, like whatever it is. A lot of times, like you don't actually know what's best for people, and just assuming you can fix them and give them all this advice is like, maybe you can't, maybe you don't know what you're talking about. And I'll say this even as a therapist, like I don't see therapy as an advice giving space. There's very few times where as a therapist, I am giving my clients advice. I'm there as a sounding board. I'm there to help hold up a mirror and kind of be more objective to their experience and hold space for them as they go through their own transformation. Okay, so those are the 5 main things I've learned as I have healed from becoming an overhealer or an overfixer of those in my life. And, here's the thing, the kicker is that when we're always trying to heal others, we're often the ones in need of healing ourselves. And that external focus, that energy we're putting out on the healing journey of others can actually get in the way of our own healing when we need to be diverting that energy back to ourselves. So self-healing for me has looked like a lot of things. Self-healing for me has looked like good self-care, which is figuring out what sleep routine works for me, what food does my body run off of best, what type of exercise, and this is a big one, like what type of exercise does my body need? And guess what? It's always changing. So those are a couple of things. Learning how to manage my energy as an empath so that I wasn't carrying around the energy of everyone else and not knowing how to fill back up with my own energy. That's been a huge one. So your self-healing is going to look unique to you. There's no one size fits all on our healing journey, but I recommend that you take that energy that you've been putting out on how to fix everything, everyone, the world around you, and you put some of that or all of that back on yourself. What do I need for my self-healing journey right now? Ask yourself that question. See what comes up. So I would love to hear from you. Have you ever been the fixer? And how has that gone for you? How did that work out? Like, what did you learn from being the fixer? I'm curious. Please share it in the comments. And I'm running a free masterclass called Self-Healing 101, and it's all about the energetics of you healing yourself. In this masterclass, I'm teaching my 2 favorite healing techniques that have revolutionized my energy and how I can show up and do the work I came here to do. because without these, I was just burning out. So if you're interested in learning more kind of about the energetics of self-healing, I recommend you sign up, link in the description. It's just a quick 20-minute masterclass on my two favorite techniques for self-healing on a more energetic level. Also, I just started my YouTube journey, and every subscriber and like really goes a long way towards me being able to make this a sustainable, paid income stream. So please, 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 if you like what you watched today, subscribe and yeah, comment. Let's get the discussion going. Thanks so much for your time today, and I'll see you next week.